What if I told you that the only thing standing between you and the life you want is a single decision? Not a skill you need to learn, not a degree you need to earn, not even luck or timing. Just one decision: to act as if you're already the person you want to become. In 1961, a young boxer named Cassius Clay walked into a gym and declared to anyone who would listen, "I am the greatest." He hadn't won a world championship yet. He hadn't even fought most of the top contenders, but he acted as if he was already the champion. 3 years later, he proved himself right and became Muhammad Ali, the greatest boxer of all time. But here's what most people miss. Ali didn't become confident after he became champion. He became champion because he was confident first. This is Welcome to a journey that will fundamentally change how you see yourself in your potential. In this video, I will share you through one of the most powerful psychological principles ever discovered, a principle that has been used by the most successful people throughout history, often without them even realizing it. From entrepreneurs who built billion-dollar companies, to athletes who shattered world records, to artists who changed culture itself, they all understood one secret: you don't need permission to be great. You just need to start acting like you already are. Now, I know what you're thinking. Isn't that just fake it till you make it? Isn't that being inauthentic? No, and I'll prove it to you. Acting as if isn't about lying to yourself or others. It's about closing the gap between who you are and who you're capable of becoming. It's about Chapter 1: The Psychology of Acting as If, the Mind-Body Connection. Let me start with a question. Have you ever noticed that when you're sad, you tend to slouch? Your shoulders drop, your head hangs, your breathing becomes shallow. Now here's the fascinating part. This relationship works in reverse too. In 2010, researchers at Columbia and Harvard conducted a groundbreaking study. They had participants hold either powerful poses, standing tall, chest out, hands on hips, or weak poses, hunched, arms crossed, making themselves small. After just 2 minutes, they tested the participants' hormone levels. Those who held powerful poses had a 20% increase in testosterone, the confidence hormone, and a 25% decrease in cortisol, the stress hormone. Those who held weak poses showed the opposite pattern. 2 minutes, that's all it took for their physiology to change. But here's where it gets even more interesting. These hormonal changes didn't just make them feel different, they actually made them perform differently. In subsequent risk-taking tests, those who had held powerful poses were 45% more likely to take calculated risks, the kind that lead to success. This is the foundation of acting as if. Your mind follows your body, and your reality follows your mind. The self-fulfilling prophecy. In 1968, researchers Rosenthal and Jacobson conducted an experiment that would change education forever. They told teachers that certain students in their class were intellectual bloomers who would show remarkable growth that year. Here's the twist: these students were chosen completely at random. Yet by the end of the year, those randomly selected students actually did show significantly higher IQ gains than their peers. Why? Because the teachers' expectations changed how they interacted with those students. They gave them more attention, more challenging work, more encouragement. And the students, sensing these higher expectations, rose to meet them. This is acting as if in action. When you expect greatness from yourself, you unconsciously behave in ways that make greatness more likely. Your brain doesn't know the difference. Here's something that will blow your mind. Neuroscientists have discovered that your brain cannot distinguish between vividly imagined experiences and real ones. When Olympic athletes visualize their performance, the same neural pathways fire as when they actually compete. Their muscles even. Chapter 2: The Identity Shift. Who are you really? Let me tell you a story about a man named Jim. Jim was a struggling salesman in his 30s. Every morning he'd drag himself to work, dreading the rejection he'd face. He'd tell himself, "I'm just not a natural salesman. Some people have the gift and I don't." One day, his manager gave him an unusual assignment. "For the next week, I want you to pretend you're the top salesperson in this company. Walk like them, talk like them, think like them. Even if you don't believe it, just act the part." Jim thought it was ridiculous, but he was desperate enough to try. The first day was awkward. He forced himself to walk into client meetings with his head high, shoulders back. He spoke with authority he didn't feel. He made bold recommendations he'd normally shy away from. Something strange happened. Clients responded differently. They leaned in. They asked more questions. They trusted him. By the end of the week, Jim had closed more deals than he had in the previous month. But more importantly, something had shifted inside him. He'd caught a glimpse of who he could be. 5 years later, Jim became the top salesperson in his region. Not because he learned new techniques, because he changed his identity. The power of I am. The words you say after I am shape your destiny. When you say, "I'm terrible at public speaking," your brain accepts that as truth and looks for evidence to support it. You'll notice every stumble, every awkward pause, every moment of discomfort, confirming your belief. But when you say, "I am a compelling speaker," something different happens. Your brain starts scanning for evidence of that truth instead. You'll notice the times you spoke clearly, the moments people engaged with your ideas, the progress you're making. Same reality, different lens, different outcome. This isn't positive thinking fluff. This is about consciously choosing the identity you're building rather than letting it form by default. The gap between who you are and who you want to be. Most people see this gap and feel discouraged. I'm so far. Chapter 3. Overcoming the Inner Critic. The voice that says, "Who do you think you are?" If you've ever tried to act as if you're confident or successful, you've met the inner critic. It's that voice that says, "You're being arrogant. People will think you're fake. You'll look stupid when you fail. You're not special enough to think this way." This voice exists for a reason. It's your brain's ancient protection mechanism, trying to keep you safe from social rejection, which for our ancestors could literally mean death. But in today's world, this voice is more likely to kill your dreams than save your life. So how do you silence it? You don't. And this is crucial. You don't need to silence the inner critic to act as if. You just need to act anyway. The confidence action loop. Here's what most people get wrong about confidence. They think, first I'll build confidence, then I'll take action. The truth is the opposite. First you take action, then you build confidence. Confidence is the result of action, not the prerequisite for it. Think about learning to ride a bike. You didn't wait until you felt confident. You got on the bike, wobbled, maybe fell a few times, and then developed confidence through the act of riding. Every area of life works the same way. When you act as if you're confident, even while feeling scared, you create evidence for your brain that you can do the thing. This evidence builds actual confidence, which makes the next action easier, which builds more confidence. This is the confidence action loop, and it's the secret to becoming genuinely confident rather than just pretending. Reframing imposter syndrome. Almost everyone who's ever achieved something significant has experienced imposter syndrome, the feeling that you're a fraud and don't deserve your success. But here's a radical reframe. Imposter syndrome is actually proof you're growing. You only feel like an imposter when you're operating at the edge of your current capabilities. It means you're stretching into a new identity. The entrepreneur who feels like an imposter in investor meeting. Chapter 4. Practical strategies to act as if. Strategy 1. The morning identity ritual. Every morning, before you check your phone or get swept into the day's demands, spend 5 minutes embodying your future self. Stand in a power pose, shoulders back, chest out, chin up. Ask yourself, if I were already the person I want to become, how would I approach today? Visualize handling your day's challenges with the confidence and competence of your future self. See yourself speaking with authority, making decisions with clarity, handling setbacks with resilience. This isn't just motivation, this is neural programming. Those 5 minutes set the tone for how you'll show up all day. Your brain gets its marching orders. Today, we're acting as if we're confident, capable, and in control. Strategy 2. The as-if question. Throughout your day, whenever you face a decision or challenge, pause and ask, if I were already successful, confident, and capable, what would I do right now? Would you send that email proposing the big idea? Do it. Would you speak up in the meeting? Do it. Would you approach that potential client or collaborator? Do it. Would you set that audacious goal? Do it. The as-if question bypasses your current limitations and connects you directly to your potential. Strategy 3. Dress the part. This might sound superficial, but research consistently shows that what you wear affects how you think and perform, a phenomenon psychologists call enclothed cognition. In one study, participants who wore a doctor's white coat showed increased attention and careful thinking compared to those who wore street clothes or were told the coat belonged to an artist. What you wear changes how you think about yourself. If you want to feel like a successful professional, dress like one, even when working from home. If you want to feel athletic and energetic, wear workout clothes. If you want to feel creative, dress in a way that expresses that creativity. Your clothing sends a signal to your brain about who you are and how you should behave. Strategy 4. Change your vocabulary. The language you use shapes your reality. Stop saying, "I'm trying to," implies possible failure. Say, "I'm working on." "I hope to," implies uncertainty. Say, "I will," or "I'm planning to." "I can't," limits possibility. Say, "I haven't yet," or "I'm learning to." "I'm not good at," fixed identity. Say, "I'm developing my skill in." These might seem like small changes, but they compound over time. Your self-talk is the most important conversation you'll ever have. Make it empowering. Strategy 5. Collect evidence of your capability. Your brain is a confirmation bias machine. Whatever you tell it to look for, it will find. Start a wins journal where you record daily evidence of your capability. Challenge. Chapter 5. Acting as if in specific situations. In career and business. When you walk into a job interview, don't act as if you're hoping for their approval. Act as if you're evaluating whether this opportunity is the right fit for you, because you are. When you pitch your business idea, don't act as if you're begging for a chance. Act as if you're offering a valuable solution to a real problem, because you are. When you negotiate your salary, don't act as if you should be grateful for whatever they offer. Act as if you know your value and expect to be compensated fairly, because you should. Real example. A client of mine, Tom, was consistently underpaid in his tech career. When I asked him why he never negotiated, he said, "I don't want to seem greedy or ungrateful." I challenged him, "If you were already a respected senior engineer making what you deserve, would you accept an offer below market rate?" The answer was obvious, no. In his next job negotiation, Tom acted as if he were already that senior engineer. He researched market rates, knew his value, and confidently stated his requirements. Result? He got a 40% salary increase and better benefits, not because he learned some negotiation trick, but because he showed up differently. In relationships and social situations, if you want to be seen as interesting and charismatic, act as if you already are, not by talking about yourself, but by being genuinely curious about others. Confident people don't worry about whether others like them. They're too busy being interested in those around them. When you walk into a room of strangers, don't act as if you're an outsider hoping to fit in. Act as if you belong there, and you'll be welcomed. In health and fitness, an out-of-shape person who wants to get fit says, "I need to lose weight before I can be athletic." An athletic person says, "I'm an athlete, so I train and fuel my body accordingly." See the difference? When you act as if you're already athletic, making food choices like an athlete, moving like an athlete, recovering like an athlete, your body follows your identity. In creative pursuits, the aspiring writer says, "I'll call myself a writer once I'm published." The professional writer says, "I'm a writer because I write." If you want to be creative, act as if you already are. Create daily, study the craft, share your work, connect with other creators. You don't need permission or validation to claim the identity. You claim it through consistent action. Chapter 6. The Transformation. The moment everything changes. There comes a moment in this process, and it's different for everyone, when you realize something profound. You're not acting anymore. You've become. The confidence you are embodying has become genuine. The identity you were trying on has become who you are. This happens gradually, then suddenly. One day you look back and realize you haven't thought about acting as if in weeks because you simply are. The entrepreneur is no longer pretending to be confident in client calls. They're genuinely confident because they've solved real problems for real clients. The athlete is no longer forcing themselves to train. They train because that's what athletes do, and they're an athlete. The writer is no longer questioning whether they're really a writer. They write, therefore they are. The compound effect. Acting as if isn't about one dramatic transformation. It's about small, consistent choices that compound over time. Each time you choose to act as your future self rather than your current self, you're casting a vote for that identity. Each vote matters, but no single vote determines the outcome. It's the accumulation of thousands of these small moments of courage, consistency, and conviction that creates lasting transformation. Your new reality. When you truly embrace acting as if, your entire reality shifts. Opportunities that seemed impossible become available. People respond to you differently because you show up differently. Challenges that once paralyzed you become manageable because you approach them from a place of capability rather than doubt. You don't become a different person. You become more fully yourself, the version of you that was always possible but waiting to be activated. The decision is yours. We've covered a lot in our time together, but it all comes down to one simple truth. The person you become is determined by how you act today. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, not when circumstances are perfect. Today. Right now, you have a choice. You can continue waiting for confidence, success, or capability to magically appear, or you can decide to act as if you already possess these qualities and watch as they become real through your actions. Your next step. Before this audio ends, I want you to commit to one specific action. Think about the person you want to become. Got them clearly in mind? Now ask yourself, what is one thing this person would do today that I've been putting off? Maybe it's sending an email you've been afraid to send, starting the project you've been overthinking, having the conversation you've been avoiding. making the ask you've been too nervous to make. Do that thing today. Not perfectly, not when you feel ready, today. That one action is the first vote for your new identity. Cast it. Muhammad Ali didn't wait to become the greatest. He declared it before anyone believed it, including himself. Sarah Blakely didn't wait for business experience. She acted like a CEO when she was still selling fax machines. And you don't need to wait either. The life you want, the person you want to become, the success you dream of, it's all available to you right now. Not because you're special or chosen or lucky, but because you're willing to close the gap between who you are and who you can be one action at a time. Act as if you're the best, not because no one is better than you, but because no one can be a better version of you than you can. The world is waiting for what only you can offer. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for confidence. Stop waiting to feel ready. Start acting as if, today, your future self is counting on you.